We thank God for bringing us together on this third edition of PCNE. And we want to thank the University of Santo Tomas, the faithful partner of the Archdiocese of Manila, and all of you coming not only from the Archdiocese of Manila, but from other parts of the country and the world for keeping PCNE alive. Maraming salamat po sa inyong lahat, sa inyong pagdalo. We just want to be reminded that through PCNE, we are not creating a new gospel. Hindi po tayo gumagawa ng bagong ebanghelyo. Why? Because the gospel remains new. Pope John Paul II calls for a new evangelization because the world is changing, and changing very fast. Every day we are confronted with new realities, and the new realities invite us to proclaim through word, deeds, and relationships, through structures and institutions, through policies and lifestyles, the good news that Jesus is alive, that Jesus is with us. There is salvation, there is hope. But because the world is changing, we need new expressions, new methods, and always new fervor. We witnessed the same gospel account of Luke 24 expressed during the morning prayer in a new way, in a new method. And sabi ni Father Ang kanina, Your Eminence, nahalata ko, napapaindak kayo. I go, oo. But I want to ask all of you, were not our hearts burning within us as we heard the word, the good news of Jesus' resurrection proclaimed through dance, through movement, through a prayer form that our young people would resonate with? And not only the truly young, even the young at heart, like me. Parang nagsisinungaling na yata ako niyan. But really, the same message can burn even the hardened of heart, purify our hearts, if only we proclaim the same message with fervor, with every movement of the body, in a manner, in a method, in an expression that will connect us to people of our time. Kaya po itong PCNE, whether it's number 3, and we hope it will continue for many, many more years, is an encounter with the Lord. The Lord is here to meet us. We hope that our minds and our hearts will be ready to be touched by the Lord who wants to meet us. Let these 3 days be a real retreat, days of contemplation, through the stories that we will hear, through the people who are seated beside you, through the speakers, through the storytellers. But hopefully, the encounter with the Lord will enable us, will inspire us to be part of His living body, the church, so that as one community, we could, in different parts of the country and the world, we could proclaim the good news. We have no other ambition than to make Jesus known, and for people to realize Jesus is with them. Let PCNE number 3 be an explosion of mercy as bombs are exploding everywhere, preparing to come here. I heard over the news that as France was celebrating Bastille Day, the 14th of July, in Nice, where there are many Filipino migrant workers, as people were watching the fireworks, a truck just rammed through the crowds. And when I left the residential, 16 people had already been declared dead. Sinagasaan lang. And more than 100 wounded. In a celebration of freedom, in a celebration of brotherhood and sisterhood, in a celebration of equality, you have an explosion of misery. Let PCNE be another explosion. Not the explosion that will harm, not the explosion that will disregard human lives and dignity, but an explosion of redeeming love, mercy, compassion. Kaya bawat isa sa atin dapat ay maging firework of mercy right here in UST and elsewhere. Mga kapatid, our world has so many challenges, and I'm sure many of you, even the young ones here, will say there are so many problems. I'm inviting you to look closely at those so-called challenges, crises, and problems. And you know what we will realize? They are not problems. They are dilemmas. Magkaiba po ang problema sa dilemma. A problem has a solution. And when you have prescribed a solution, the problem disappears. But a dilemma is a problem that does not disappear. And our lives are filled with dilemmas. But if our approach is problem solving, we will be frustrated because dilemmas have no solutions. May I know how many of you here are married? Please raise your hand. Let me ask you, are your spouses a problem or a dilemma? Parang may nakita ako doon, sabi, a catastrophe. Oh, I see some priests here. And you, parishioners, what do you see in your priest? A problem or a dilemma? Dear brother priest, what do you see in your parishioners? A problem or a dilemma? My dear priest, what do you see in us bishops? A problem? A dilemma? Ba't bigla kayong tumahimik? Now, this PCNE 3 will be filled not with problems, but with dilemmas. How do we respond to a dilemma? Not with solutions, but with stories. stories, especially stories of people who have lived through these dilemmas but have found meaning. Not solution, but meaning. Such that even when the dilemma remains, the person, the spirit, is not crushed. In fact, the person grows in hope in the midst of dilemma. And when we hear those stories, we hear the story of a merciful God sustaining broken hearts, allowing us to pick up the pieces, and maybe Humpty Dumpty will not be put together again. But nevertheless, even with a limp, Humpty Dumpty could still look at us. Hindi na yata alam ng mga bata si Humpty Dumpty. Yung mga tumatango, ka-generation ko. Kaya kailangan ng new evangelization. So these days will be filled with stories woven with the story of Jesus, the merciful Son of God, the face of the God who is merciful, the giver of the Spirit who heals broken hearts because of mercy. And in that spirit, I declare PCNE 3 officially open. May God bless us.